She told me for high level players, yeah, they usually just do it in their house. "3 in the morning is truly a dangerous time to be awake. I've been up working on trying to get some maybe a little bit provocative artistic renditions of various RuneScape female characters drawn so I can turn them into stickers and sell them on my merch store. So I was searching things that I wouldn't really want my boss to see. Things like sexy RuneScape Neve, sandwich lady with big baguette, finding other people's artistic renditions that they've posted on Reddit. But I came across one post. It stuck out to me. It wasn't an artistic rendition at all. It was a post saying, quote, "There is a cyber sex market that has operated for years in World 3 Lumbridge that Jagex is doing nothing about." When I read this title, I vaguely remembered that somebody had messaged me on Discord many months ago telling me the same thing, but I thought they were just kidding. It wasn't real. So I was intrigued. I want to find out if this post was a troll, seemingly like the guy who had messaged me. Okay, before we get into my investigation, let's take a in-depth look at the actual Reddit post because it provides a really good background to what's going on here. The first thing he wrote is, "World 3 is a popular free-to-play world even members go to when bored to chat with randoms and meet new friends." Okay, first off, this is already sounding like a Chris Hansen Dateline NBC episode, but let's continue. He says there's nothing wrong with that. However, there is a specific location, Lumbridge, which is known by a few as the dark corner of RuneScape. He said he learned a few weeks ago that there is an underground cyber sex market that operates there. He went on to write that every day people go to World 3 Lumbridge for the sole purpose of finding others to relieve their desires with. Now, he actually goes on to categorize the accounts, and not just the female accounts that are there, but also the male accounts, and both sides of the spectrum are interesting, and we're going to look at both. The first category he defined is alt accounts, and these are level 3s, often with provocative names who have had wealth transferred onto them by their main to pay women at Lumbridge to cyber/roleplay with them. Category number 2 he defined as cyberers/roleplayers/predators. He said these are fresh level 3 accounts with provocative names who do not have any wealth on them, and they PM any female account they see with disgusting messages like what they would do to them, or immediately try to direct the conversation towards their Snapchat, Kick, Skype, Discord, whatever. The third category, they're the provocative ones. So he said these are your typical female accounts. They range from fresh level 3 accounts to comped mains, but they're often seen with the pigtail hairstyle and provocative outfits on. They cater to the level 3 accounts who are looking to pay GP for their services. He said that some even go as far to sell pictures and videos of them to themselves for money. And then finally, category 4 he defined as the e-daters. And he said these often vary in level and wealth and are commonly just there to chat with others or look for a potential e-date. He said that some participate in role-playing/cybering, but only those with mutual interest. He said no GP is distributed. Now here's the thing. There's no way YouTube is going to let me monetize this video. I'll just be happy if they don't completely obliterate it from the platform altogether. So that leads me to my plug. So me and my girlfriend have been making some RuneScape related items and selling them on my merch store. Right now we have a Jad on there, a baby mole pet, and a special pumpkin for Halloween that won't be around forever. Each one is made out of hard plastic and hand painted. I feel really bad for her because she's doing all the painting and it's a ton of work. They're also a good size. They're 3 inches by 3 inches. It fits in your palm and sits on your desk. On top of that, there's also a little tree air freshener on there. They're woodcutting themed, pine scented, come in a pack of 3. Each one lasts 2 weeks. A great little item to put in your car. These are not only a great way to support my channel, but also to materialize your love for RuneScape. Check them out. The link is in the description. Anyways, without further ado, let's get back into the video. Okay, I want to show you and walk you through my experience of my first time going to Lumbridge World 3. What I found there is a lot of players matching the descriptions that SparkRS wrote about in his Reddit post. So immediately after teleporting there, you can kind of see the E-daters. They're dancing around just outside the castle, but as we go in, we start to see more sketchy looking accounts, low-level female characters or female characters with slightly provocative names. Check out this one, XOXO Foot a Girl. There was also another account there under the name Cloudy Thoughts, and actually watching their conversation with a male player, I learned a lot, and I'll get to that in just a second. There was also this character going under the name XPagey, typical level 3 female character in an extremely provocative outfit, just like the Reddit post detailed. So again, this was my first time visiting World 3 Lumbridge. At this point, I was still skeptical about his Reddit post. I thought it might have been a big troll, all fictitious, but now I'm starting to really see and get these vibes. But of course, one visit isn't enough. So over the last week, while I've been kind of making and planning this video, I've periodically made trips back to World 3 Lumbridge. And look, here's some footage from that. Just check out some of these names. Some are wholesome, E-daters like Gabby IRL, but then you have others like Madame Caramel, Love's Feet, Mean Miss V, Less P-Girl. Many level 3 female characters matching that definition from Reddit, the promiscuous ones. One thing to note here too is that this was my first encounter with Madame Caramel, and I didn't know it at the time, but along with Cloudy, Madame Caramel became instrumental in the rest of this investigation, but again, we'll get to that very soon. So at this point, much less skeptical, but what really confirmed the validity of this Reddit post is what Cloudy Thoughts started saying. Check this out. So I started following her because she was talking to this male player. Now, she says that I'm female, and this guy says that he doesn't care if the person behind the screen he's trying to E-date is male because it's just E-dating. To which Cloudy replies saying it's going to cost 1 billion GP and she'll give him her Snapchat. Now keep in mind, this Cloudy person is probably not a girl. And then the guy she's talking to says, nah, I'm good. And he says that essentially he doesn't have enough money. So I go ahead and try to add her because I want to dig more into this, do a little bit of investigative journalism and see exactly what's going on here. Now, her PM's offline, so I just say in game, add me Cloudy, to which she responds, Flop, I'll add you, but do you have GP for it? Because, quote, my friends list is full and you have to pay for a spot. I say, I have more GP than you can think of. And she says, I'll take 1 bill for the ad and Snap plus Instagram too. So right there, my suspicion was confirmed. This is my first time visiting World 3. There's somebody there offering to give me their Snapchat, their Instagram, and add me on RuneScape for 1 billion GP. You can tell what's going down here. It's exactly as Spark wrote in his Reddit post. Now, I didn't actually have 1 billion GP on me, and I knew if I really wanted to get more into this, without paying them a real 1 billion GP, I'm gonna need to have that money to show them. So I went to good old Oak Dice, I swapped over some of my Oldschool Runescape GP to RuneScape 3 GP. I now have 1 billion GP in game, and what I'm hoping is that by showing them this cash, they'll be more prone to answering some of my questions about what exactly is going on in World 3. So my intuition was right. After getting the 1 billion GP, I made my way back to World 3 Lumbridge, where I quickly found an account that looked like one of the people who might be offering services in exchange for GP. The person I found was Madame Caramel, and as you know, after looking back over all this footage, I actually found her a few days ago. So what this tells me is that Madame Caramel is a person who's here actively at least a decent amount, because what are the chances I would run into her twice at completely different times of the day and completely different days of the week? So I went ahead and flashed her my new shiny 1 billion GP in a trade window, hoping that this would somehow insinuate the secretive service offerings to begin. But instead I was met with no response at all. And in fact, I tried PMing her, but what I found is that I couldn't PM her. It turns out that RuneScape 3's PM system is horribly bugged, and you have to kind of go through this long, convoluted process to get it to work. I'm just telling you this so you have the background as to why there was kind of a period between me showing her the GP and the conversation starting. So I fixed that. I sent her a PM saying, hey, and she responded saying, hello, lol. So I asked, what you doing here? And she said, nothing in particular, just hanging out. You? And I said, not much. She said, I see. And I asked, do you hang out here often? To which she responded, yeah. Do you ever see people cybering here? Mm-hmm. Can I ask you some questions about that? She said, okay. At this point, I suggested that we move to the upstairs of one of the Lumbridge houses so we can talk in private. And I was hoping she would talk in public chat because it makes it a little more cinematic, but instead she just kept private messaging me. But either way, she followed me upstairs. And then she said, what do you want to know about? And I told her, I'm just curious about the cybering that goes on in World 3. I've heard that people are selling services for GP, Snapchats, Instagrams, etc. Madame Caramel told me that yes, I've seen several people doing this. And I asked, how do these people operate? To which she responded, well, you give them money and they do what you want. And you'll kind of see this throughout the rest of our conversation. The answers are very sparse in details, they lack facts, and for me to really get any concrete information out of her, I had to really push. So I asked next, how do you find them? And she said, you just ask. So I said, ask what exactly? It seems a little cryptic, like maybe there's a secret way to do it, right? Because, why would you just go openly asking that in public chat? That sounds like a really good way to get muted. And she told me, not really, just if you do stuff for money or whatever. And you know what? Her saying that people are that blunt about it and looking back at Cloudy and how she was talking in public chat, I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe people don't really care around World 3 about getting muted or what they're asking for. Now, I wanted to shift the conversation to a finding that the person who had originally made the Reddit post around this had. He said that he noticed some of these people offering these services all belong to the same clan in game. So I asked, are these people offering services part of a larger clan? And Madame told me there used to be clans a long time ago, but they've died down. Game isn't what it used to be. And then I wanted to know, do people who ever buy these services ever end up getting blackmailed or extorted? Because my thought was, if you send like a picture of your face and maybe something revealing to one of these people selling services, that they might go and try to find your Facebook account or your work or whatever, and then extort you saying, hey, I'm going to send these revealing pictures that you sent me to these people that you know if you don't give me more money. That's a very common thing that happens. Now, when I asked her this, she said, this probably isn't the best convo in public chat, lol. So at this point, I asked if she had a Discord, and she did, so we exchanged our Discords, and the conversation that followed is really what killed all of my suspicion that this could be fake and confirmed that what's going on here is a reality. So on Discord, she said hi, and I re-asked my last question. She asked me, how would they get taken advantage of? Like scammed? And then I went into detail about how I thought these people might get taken advantage of, everything I just explained. And she said, it's usually the person that gets paid that sends the explicit photos and stuff, and usually faces aren't shown. I said, I see. How much do services typically cost? She told me, depends on what you want, lol. Everyone has their own price. So again, I had to dig a little farther to get specifics. Here's what she ended up telling me. Explicit videos and explicit photos go for about 100 million RuneScape 3 GP. Now, to put that in perspective, that's about $17. She went on to say that custom pictures go for 50 mil. I think she mistyped here. I think she meant they go for 150 mil. That would make more sense relative to the price of just a regular explicit photo. She went on to say that she's never heard of custom videos, but that's probably super expensive, and that roleplays cost between 10 and 20 mil. Those are kind of the general prices that people charge. Now, here's the thing. This should be obvious, but I know to some people it's not. Sorry to say if you're one of them. I still love you. The people that are at World 3 soliciting these services are not real women. They're men behind their computer screens who have downloaded explicit videos and photos, and sometimes they even use crafty tricks to make it seem more real. They'll put writings on pieces of paper or even body parts using Photoshop. They download what are known as packages of precompiled images and videos with gigabytes worth of data. We're talking hundreds of videos, thousands of images, which ultimately allow them to match the request that most people have. Really, what's going on here is less cybering and more what is known as e-whoring. The people who participate in this activity are ruthless, they're out for money, they're commonly associated with extortion, spreading malware, being involved with black hat communities. I'm sure that some of the people who go to World 3 looking for these services end up getting extorted. There's no doubt in my mind. That being said, there's more to this left for us to uncover. So at this point I asked, what do people normally want? And she said, super curious, aren't you? I said, very. How come? I told her I seen a Reddit post saying that people do this type of thing in World 3 and I want to know more. She said, haha, I didn't even see the article. Then she said, okay, let's just talk in RuneScape. So once we got back in game, the first thing she told me to do is come to Taverly and we're gonna go in her house. Now, of course, the first question I had to ask is this where business happens? She told me for high-level players, yeah, they usually just do it in their house. Now, my next question was a bit of a target. I wanted her to confirm that she actually does offer services in exchange for GP. I know in the beginning she said that she was just a witness to World 3, but there is no witnesses to World 3. You're either there to buy or to sell. So I asked her, how long have you been at this? I don't do it much, to be honest, but there are quite a lot of people that do. With that response, I wanted to know, how much do these people make? The ones that do it a lot. She told me, I don't know. I gave you the typical rates I'd say is charged. So however many times they do it, times the rate is how much. Look, this didn't help me. I wanted numbers. Maybe I worded it poorly. Maybe I should have asked specifically how many people come a day and buy services. But likewise, I started prodding more. I asked, how many come a day? And she told me, a lot of people come looking to pay. Some high levels that make level 3 accounts, and then just some random level 3s. But again, she didn't give me a number, so I asked, more than 10 a day? And she said, definitely. More than 10 a day. I asked next, can you give me a ballpark number of how many a day? Because how many more than 10? I don't know. I wanted her to tell me. And then she asked me, do you want to engage in this stuff? Is that why you're asking? I don't care if you do. Is that why? And at this point I told her I had no desire to engage. And in hindsight, this was the wrong answer, but I didn't know what she was going to say next. After I told her that, she told me, quote, it's kind of weird then, lol. Making me feel uncomfortable. So I didn't get all of the answers that I wanted, especially any concrete facts, because at this point, the conversation ended. She wasn't willing to talk to me anymore about the subject. But I think we really got everything we need to prove what this person on Reddit was talking about. This definitely is happening. You can go to World 3 Lumbridge any day, especially on a weekend, and it's hopping with people that are clearly offering these services in exchange for GP. Sure, I could go and actually follow through and pay some of these people to get concrete proof that they will send these things to me, but you know what? I'm so sure of it after this conversation that number one, I don't want to encourage this behavior by actually paying somebody, and number two, this video is already so un-PG friendly that it probably won't exist on YouTube for more than a couple of hours. Either way, I'm curious to see what World 3 looks like after this video goes live. It might very well just ruin their little community, which, I don't know, is that sad in a way? You tell me. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Again, check out the merch store. Link is in the description. My girlfriend and I are really trying to create merch that's different from everybody else on YouTube. We didn't want to just sell t-shirts or mugs. We wanted to handcraft and put love into everything that we make and then ship it out. It's been really fun and challenging so far, so we'll see how it goes. And if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I'm always coming out with new content, typically monthly, on things that I find interesting happening in RuneScape. Until next time, guys, love, peace, and chicken grease.